Boom! At the open, all-time high for the S&P 500.
It's your boy Jimmy. Jimmy.
Now what's worth doing is worth doing for money.
Straight from y'all street to Wall Street.
Anybody tells you money's the root of all evil doesn't make up happen.
Dudes wake up, hope their girl turned on so they can get a little bit. Only woman in the morning I wanna turn on this. Deck it quick. While the average man looking at it's sad like she fine as it. I'm over here looking at tails and whips like 5-6. I left the mayhem for the market. Now I don't want a dope spot, I want a stock pick. I know that booty got dropped, triggered my stop losses, but I ain't got time for your wop. My V-wops crossing. Rich with hot V's and pushing hot strategy and plans to make grand. Still in my wife beater, Batman pajamas, house slides, and about 5 hot picks for the day. Cause I like the way the Dow bounces. 4 hot dips on call, so I got options. 2 with a lot of volume, 1 with a double bottle. Now I know dumb money don't understand. Am I talking about my trade or just thinking with my MACD? You see, we different in the way we move. You move with kittens and your dog, I move with bears and bulls. I got a green thought, grow with the marijuana. Waking up with the futures, some commas. Jump out of bed, big profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, big profits. Light up, watching them candles, profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. They used to watch me move them packs and now I watch moves in the NASDAQ. Profits. Used to run from the ATF and them cops. Now I run down ETL, make profits. I jump out of bed, make profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, make profits. Light up, watching them candles, profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. Yeah. See, me and Jim Cramer been talking mad money. Said today I'm taking a risk. They got the feds coming, but I got support here with me. I call a short squeeze. You get the drop, pull the trigger, and abort these. If she stay on my watch list, I might have to wife her. But I know better. I'm a true trading group lifer. Call up the Wolf of Weed Street. It's time to flip some profits. Go ahead, be hawking. Get your spot here. I'll double top that in the head and shoulders. Hit him up with this resistance. Watch him roll over. Cause I see John Wicks in contract. If I say I make $1 million a day, well, that's a large cap. You moving average, that's why you get crossed. Get split, get delisted, and knocked off. and I'm setting the whole block off. I'm buying GameStop and selling them roadblocks off. Jump out of bed, make profits. Eat my bacon and eggs, make profits. Light up, watching them candles, profits. While I'm still in my sand, making profits. They used to watch me move them packs. Now I watch moves in the NASDAQ. Used to run from the ATF and them cops. Now I run down ETF. Hey, my family. Hey, go, what we doing, my man? Hey, make profits. Hey, Shug, Mike, what we doing? Hey, make profits. Yo, Wolf, Professor, what we doing? Hey, make profits. That TTG money gang. Hey, make profits. We some snipers.
Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? What's going on, folks? Welcome to the True Trading Group live stream. I hope you all are doing fantastic. Hope you all had a wonderful day. It's been a wonderful week. And here we are right now covering some Micron earnings as NVIDIA makes a new all-time high. Yes, NVIDIA, new all-time high. It is unbelievable to see that the markets are less than 1% away from an all-time high, considering everything that we have gone through over the last couple of months. Just an unreal time in the markets. And, you know, there's so much volatility. There's so many catalysts. There's so many what ifs, but there's all of that creates a ton of opportunity for us. If you guys have been following the live streams for the last couple of months, then you'll know on April 6th, you don't have to take my word for it. You can go back and watch it yourself. On April 6th, I was on this live stream on Sunday evening, and I told everybody on April 6th that come tomorrow morning, meaning April 7th, I was going to be buying in the long-term portfolio, and we did that. We did that inside True Trading Group. We did it very aggressively. We did it across a lot of our favorite tech stocks, and some of those stocks are up over 100% as we sit here now, just 2.5 months later. It's really astonishing to see what transpired in such an incredibly short period of time. And I think the question everybody wants to know now from here is whether or not the market's like, what do you do now? The market's going to really make a new all-time high, even though GDP is going down and the labor market is softening. How are the markets going to make a new all-time high? Even though there's tariffs, there's this, there's that. How is that any of that possible? How does any of that make sense? And I get these questions a lot, and I think we're going to talk about that here today on this live stream. I want to remind all of our members of True Trading Group, that at 5 p.m. I'll be done on the live stream by then. At 5 p.m., we're going to open up the main chat room inside True Trading Group. And Adam, who's my business partner and the co-founder of True Trading Group, is going to be doing a free live workshop. You're all invited on how to use the TTG AI Pro. Okay, we have an amazing boot camp coming up in July where the moderators and I are going to be showing you guys how we use the AI to implement into our trading. And Adam is going to show you guys how to use that so you can kind of familiarize yourself with it and everything that you can do with it prior to the boot camp. So you're a little bit more familiar with it at that time. So that'll be at 5 p.m. You're all invited. It'll be right inside main chat. I will be done with this live stream by then. Okay. And for those of you that are unaware, True Trading Group is a fintech platform that is fully incorporated, integrated AI. We received the Benzinga Fintech Chairman's Award for Best AI Analysis Tool just last year, and we're coming to repeat that this year for 2025. So it is an award-winning platform. It is our honor to receive that award from Benzinga and to be recognized by industry leaders for what it is that we have done implementing AI into our platform so that our members are able to make better trades, make better decisions, and at the end of the day, make more money. Because at the end of the day, that's really why we are all here. That's why you're on this live stream. That's why I'm here. That's why everybody gets involved in the markets. It's so that they could make money. And this is one tool and resource that is above the rest and is something that all of our members have been able to use. True Trading Group has over 10,000 members in 115 different countries. We are truly a global community. We day trade, we swing trade. We also do long-term portfolio investing. We trade stocks, options, futures, you name it, we trade it. There is literally something for everybody here at True Trading Group. Okay, now you might be wondering who the hell I am, why I should listen to anything that I discuss on this channel. It's not because I think that I'm the world's greatest trader. It's because I began my trading career working at T3 Alpha Fund in New York City, my first job out of college. They had me go through a training program before they let me touch $1 of the firm's money. And then 2008 happened shortly after that. And that was the Great Recession, the big stock market crash, but also the same year that I received one of the firm's Trader of the Year awards. And you fast forward down, I'm the co-founder and head trader of True Trading Group, along with my team of 8 other professional full-time trading mods and an over 30-person staff. We have helped thousands of members from all over the world to reach their goals. So if you guys are new Smash that like button, show some love. If you're not new, smash that like button and show some love. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. Make sure you guys never miss out on any of these live streams. We're dropping golden nuggets on a regular basis. Let's take things on over to the charts real quick. We've got some earnings coming out here with Micron earnings. And this is a big one because it kind of tells you, the semiconductor sector has been red hot lately. Two of our favorites, NVIDIA and then AMD. We added to AMD back there in April. We added to NVIDIA back there in April. And those stocks have been on an absolute tear over the last, 2 months. And like I said, NVIDIA made a new all-time high today. But Micron, another semiconductor, that's why these earnings were important because, you kind of had the markets get pulled up a little bit by the semiconductors. And we wanted to make sure that Micron's earnings were going to be good enough to kind of keep that momentum going. And so far, so good. Micron's earnings it's a beat here. It's a really, really, really nice beat. It's a very large beat. Earnings per share $1.91. Analysts were only expecting $1.60. Sales came in at $9.3 billion. Analysts were only expecting $8.87 billion. That is a big beat. They see the next quarter earnings per share of $2.35 to $2.65. Analysts were only expecting $2.01. They see sales between $10.4 and $11 billion. Analysts were only expecting $9.88 billion. This is a massive beat. Top and bottom line guidance raise for Micron. Okay. That's got the stock trading up around 4%. We'll see. Let's go on over to the daily chart. Now, I will caution you this. Yes. Is this a fantastic earnings release? Yes, it is. This stock needs to cool off because this earnings release is not enough to get it through its most recent key resistance level, which is 137. And that's what I was kind of waiting for. It's like, hey, if this thing releases earnings and the earnings do not take you above this level, you may see some profit taking kick in. We have to wait until see tomorrow. Obviously, they still have the conference call they got to go through. The CEO could say some stuff on the conference call that could take it above that level. And if that's the case, tomorrow you look for that level to be support. But as it stands right now, we have not broken that level. It is not a coincidence that the after hours high right now is 137. Why is it not a coincidence that the after hours earnings high right now is 137? Why is that not a coincidence? Well, because that's where your next major resistance level lies. And if I take you back to the daily chart and we look back left, you will see these tops right there from June and July of 2024. Okay. And then prior to that, you will see support there in June. So that is your very clear structure at 137. The stock is obviously extended as the stock's been basically green every single day for the last 3 weeks. And you have 1 or 2 red days in there over the last 3 weeks. It's been a hell of a run there for Micron. And then now you have the earnings, and the earnings take this thing, gap it up and take it into this 137 resistance level. But, we have to wait and see if there's enough strength on the stock to get through that level with earnings. If not, if tomorrow you're still sitting 134, the stock might give you a little bit of a consolidation, and there will probably be better things to trade than Micron if you are still under this level, because I wouldn't expect you to get like this big aggressive sell-off because the earnings were that good. But if you're not broken above that resistance level, you might just get a pause in the buying pressure, a little bit of profit taking, and the stock might consolidate before eventually maybe trying to break through that level in the weeks to come. All right. So that is going to be Micron, but more so than just Micron. I think that the earnings here with Micron really, are going to, be a good, point here for AMD. AMD has recently broken a multi-year downtrend. Okay. The stock has been in a downtrend. All right. Since back in 2024, you guys can see here we go, right? Downtrend, 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 downtrend. Okay. Then you broke out of the downtrend downtrend became support, and now you're off to the races. The other thing that confirms the break of the downtrend is an inverse head and shoulders pattern. And it's a nice one. Here you guys go. There is your inverse head and shoulders. Here is your left shoulder. Here's your right shoulder. Here's your head. And here is your neckline. You can see we broke above the neckline, and then now the rest is history. Now you're getting this nice, beautiful extension on AMD. This is a very clean, clear trend reversal that AMD has put in over the last 3 to 4 weeks. Okay. I think, and we talked about this inside a True Trading Group. Actually, AMD was one of the top trades for us this week. One of the top trade ideas on the breakthrough, this resistance level here that you have in the low 130s, around 133 was that resistance. You've gapped above it yesterday, and the thing's just exploded ever since. And I think you have to start to look at this now. I would say, we basically were looking at shorting AMD for the last year, where it was like whenever AMD would rally, shorted the stocks. It was very weak. It was in a very clear downtrend. That has now changed. That has reversed. And now instead of shorting rallies, we're actually buying pullbacks, and we're looking for longs on the name rather than shorts. And when you get a downtrend line break, like I just showed you, and again, I'll draw it out one more time just so you guys can see, there's the downtrend line, right? You broke above the downtrend line, but you're also confirming the break of the downtrend by the inverse head and shoulders setup. Inverse head and shoulders are trend reversal patterns. Inverse head and shoulders occur at the bottom of downtrends, okay? And a lot of times that downtrend will then reverse by forming the inverse head and shoulders, okay? So very clear setup here. Very great trade the last 2 days, and a lot of our members were able to capitalize on that call and make some really good money on this thing. And I honestly don't think that it's done. Yeah, sure. Maybe you take a breather, up here in the mid to high 140s, maybe take a little bit of a breather. But I think that, you look for some consolidations and any pullbacks back into this zone of like the low to mid 130s. I think that becomes a support level now. Okay, let me delete this line so I don't confuse you. I think this area in the low 130s, I think that becomes a support level now. And what I would do with AMD is I would look for pullbacks to then continue. And I think that you can see AMD, maybe has a lot of catching up to do. And I think you can see this stock at least in the 150s, possibly even 170 over the next couple of months. I like this. I like the break. I think it's trying to start itself in a new uptrend. And I think you got to try to look to buy pullbacks rather than continue to short those rallies. So I bought AMD calls on Monday from Mike's analysis, closed the position on yesterday for a 256% gain. Boom, Huckleberry. That's what I'm talking about. Great job, man. Absolute great job. 256% gain in 2 days. Not even in 1 day. You bought it Monday, you sold it Tuesday. That's insane. 256%. We'll take that. Oh, my neck is killing me. Sorry. Neck's killing me. I got a killer headache. I think it's the heat, man. It's like 100 degrees over here. I don't know where it is. I don't know what the temperature is where you guys are, but I am dying. Literally, it's 100 degrees. I don't live in Arizona. You would think I live in Arizona. I don't. I live in New Jersey. It's 100 degrees. That should not be that way. I don't know why that is the case, but it is. All right, that is AMD. And then we got to talk about NVIDIA, right? And then we'll move on here from NVIDIA and a new all-time high. This is a new all-time high here on NVIDIA, guys. Just insane, right? Just absolutely insane. Monster day today for this stock, and pushing higher again after hours on the back of Micron's earnings. Right? Micron's earnings are just pushing higher on the back of that, 155 now. And again, it's another stock that we added on April 4th, April 7th. That's when we did our buying in the long-term portfolio. This is where it pays to be a member of True Trading Group. If you guys are not taking advantage of this stuff, you are doing yourself a massive disservice by not paying attention to the things that, even if you're not an active trader, follow along with the long-term portfolio stuff. Whenever we add in our long-term portfolio or sell, we notify all of our members. You guys can follow along with every single thing that we do. It's It's not just day trading. It's not just swing trading. It's also long-term portfolio stuff. And you take a look at some of the stocks that we bought. You take a look. NVIDIA, insane. AMD, insane. Snowflake, insane. Broadcom, insane. Uber, insane. CrowdStrike, insane. Palo Alto, you guessed it, insane. Cloudflare, insane. ServiceNow, insane. You guys are starting to get the hint here, right? Palantir, insane. These are the stocks that we bought. Okay. Oh, also Goldman Sachs, insane. JP Morgan, insane. Wells Fargo, insane. These are the stocks that we bought. Okay. This is why I'm telling you guys, you're doing yourself a massive disservice by not being around, by not being a part of the community. Times like this is when it pays to be part of a group. You guys can't focus on 1,000 different stocks all on your own. All right. You can't focus on 1,000 different stocks on your own. It pays to be part of a community and a group where other people that know what they're doing, that share the same goals that you have, can help each other succeed. And that's exactly what our members are doing. Our members are making money. They're making money trading. They're growing their long-term portfolios. They added in their long-term portfolio when we did. And if that's, you don't have to take my word for it. Ask members themselves. Guys, if you're a member of True Trading Group, if you are a member of TTG and you guys are making money, whether you're killing it in the long-term portfolio or you guys are making money trading, day trading, and swing trading, type the number 1 in chat right now. Tell me how you're doing. Talk to me about your long-term portfolio. Tell me how your trading is going. Type the number 1 in chat if you're making money and tell me a little something about it. Because again, at the end of the day, why do people come to True Trading Group? Why do people come on this YouTube channel? It's so that they could make money. And the best way for you to determine whether or not True Trading Group's platform is right for you is to first see if members are making money. Are members actually benefiting and profiting from what it is that we do inside of True Trading Group? The answer is yes. Not because I say so, it's because they say so. And these are your friends, your family members, your coworkers, your peers. If they can do this, so can you. There's absolutely no reason why these people are able to benefit and make money with True Trading Group and you will not be able to. They're not smarter than you. They don't have more time than you. 82% of these people have a full-time job. If they can do this, then so can you. They sure as hell aren't luckier than you. Gail says, I used Mari today and it was a good green day. Robert says, I haven't had time to day trade lately, but I have been killing it in my long-term portfolio. Tip says, my entire portfolio is up 200% this week alone. That's insane. $100,000 profit today on SMI options, 2,200 contracts. JH, I will tell you this. As incredible as that sounds, I want to just be fully transparent. I have not verified that. That is a very large claim. 100 grand in a day, 2,200 contracts is a very large position. Listen, I'm not calling you a liar. I'm just letting everyone know that's on this YouTube channel. I have not verified that. I don't want to ever mislead anybody. I don't want anyone to think that $100,000 profit, I don't want anyone to think that's normal. Okay. No, JH, honestly, JH, if you want to send a pic that we can share, Joe, is it the same number? JH, if you want to send a pic, I appreciate it just because legally I have to kind of say that on the YouTube channel. That's all. It's not really you. It's I have to say that because we haven't verified it, and we don't ever want to mislead anybody by making claims. But that shows you what's real, what's possible. You can send a text message to 1-888-621-2127 JH. If you want to just text that number and you want to text us something, we can share it with everybody for verification. That would be great. And honestly, just congratulations. That is incredible. That is an absolute monster of a day. I mean, that's just, enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy the rest of your week. That's what's possible in this market. Again, 100 grand in a day is not the norm. Okay. Obviously that person has a large account, right? 2,200 contracts. So if you have $1,000 account or a $500 account, you're not going to be able to do that. All right. I'm not trying to mislead anybody, but JH, that is absolutely amazing. Congratulations. Congratulations. Huge day. Huge day. Oh, that's awesome. It's more than what most people make in an entire year. You made in a day. Congratulations. So grateful Mike told us about NVIDIA. My 3-year-old son's position is $15. Way to go, Rip City Trader, man. Yeah, I've been a big bull on NVIDIA for the last 5-6 years or so. 5-6 years or so is when I started getting really super bullish on NVIDIA, and we bought it every single year since. We bought NVIDIA in 2018 was my first purchase, but it was small. 2020 was my second purchase, but that was when I really bought a chunk, right? 2018, I bought some, but it was small. And then 2020 was when I really got a position during the COVID crash. And then I added to it every year since 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I added to it every single year. And it's obviously it's performed incredibly well for us. And Rip City, I'm happy that, you know, your son's position is at $15. That's amazing. That is how generational wealth is built. And I try to really instill that in all of our members, that is how you build generational wealth. You know, you guys don't realize it in the moment, but when you look back many years from now, you look back at a couple of different instances throughout your life, and you realize that there's a handful of instances that the decisions you made during those moments impacted the rest of your life. And there's a handful of those moments throughout your life, right? That there's certain decisions that you made, whether positively or negatively impacted your life, that you can go back to and you can look at and say, man, if I just made the other decision, if I just did this instead of that, where would I be today? It's easy to look past that when it's in the moment. But when you fast forward, I'll ask you about the decisions you made in 2020 with the COVID crash. How many people panicked and sold their stocks instead of loading up and buying like we did? And again, I'm not just trying to play Monday morning quarterback. All of this is on the YouTube channel. You can go back and watch my live streams from 2020. You know, it's just, this is what we do. We cover the long-term stuff too. You know, this is what it's all about. That is what it is all about. Yeah, exactly. Oh, we've got wow. Yeah, Joe, share it. So we do, JH sent us the screenshot. There it is. Wow. So not only do you have 2,200 contracts, you have 28,000 shares. JH, why do you have such a huge position in SMCI? What the fuck? Bro, this is a huge position. Well, there you go. There it is. Great job, man. Congratulations. That is a huge position. Congrats. I can tell, JH, I can tell you love SMCI. Brother, I hope this thing goes to $100 for you, man. I really do. I hope this thing goes to $100. I hope it goes to 100 or at least 60. At least 6. Do me a favor. Promise me if it goes to 60, you sell some. Right? Promise me you'll sell some if it goes to 60. You got to take some profit if it goes to 60. All right. And you keep me posted. JH, now every time I see this stock, I'm going to think of you. I'm going to think of you. Hit me up in chat. Hit me up in chat tomorrow. We'll talk more. But great job. Congratulations. That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. Well done, man. Well done. Amazing. Way to go, Maria. Maria, I hope you're doing well also. A wonderful woman right there. Maria Ramon. Said made $100,000 last year with 30 contracts of SMCI. JH, you can just DM me though. You don't have to. I'm not talking about main chat, but you can DM me. Just literally just DM me. All right. So there you guys have. But anyway, guys, listen again. Those of you that are not members of True Trading Group, this is the stuff that's possible. This is the stuff that our members are doing. You're seeing it here. You're hearing it from their mouth, not mine. I'm going to invite everyone here that's not a member. Okay. for anyone that is not a member, you guys can all join True Trading Group and you can try us out for 90 days before you commit to something longer term. Yeah, you don't have to join us for the full year if you don't want. You can take just a small amount of money, but the best damn money you've ever spent in your entire life, and you can join our platform and you can use our platform. You can use our AI and you can use all of our tools and resources for 90 days for just $247. That's it. That's it. That's nothing. It's going to be the best damn money you guys have ever spent. $247. It's well worth it. You guys are going to get access to our award-winning AI platform, right? You're going to get access to all the tools and resources that have partnered with your trading group, like Benzinga, right? We've partnered with Benzinga, TradingView, Trade Ideas, Unusual Whales, the NASDAQ, all of that. We've partnered with all of these companies and we offer their products and tools on our platform when you guys become a member. You can go to ttgoffer.com. Again, it's ttgoffer.com. Everything on that page is included, right? It's a 90-day membership for $247. There's no automatic renewal. If you forget to cancel, nothing happens. You're not charged again. There's no automatic upgrade to an annual membership. If you guys decide you want to stay with us for a year after you've gone through your 90 days, you must manually process the transaction yourself. It doesn't just happen automatically on its own. So you guys can use our platform, use the AI. It's called Mari. Okay, Mari is our AI co-pilot and your trading assistant that can help you guys, with anything. There's no complex prompts. You just talk to it with natural language. Okay, there are no complex prompts or anything like that. All right. You're also going to get access to all of our courses. It's a simplified version of what I learned working at the fund in New York. And Mari, the reason that makes our platform so great is that our AI platform, guys, it's not like a search engine. Like if you were to Google something, like if you and I Google something, if you and I Google the same thing, we're going to get the same response. But if you and I asked our AI the same exact question, we will get a different response. Why? Because our AI factors in you as an individual to give you unique guidance based on your strengths, your weaknesses, your style, your strategy, your experience level, your account size, your risk tolerance, right? All of that is factored into the guidance that it gives us or that it will give you. It factors in you, the individual, so that you get tailored guidance from the AI Copilot. And you guys can use it for 90 days for just $247. That's it. Go to ttgoffer.com. Everything you see on that page is listed right there. It's all included for 90 days. Again, there's no automatic renewal. There's no automatic upgrade. Okay. There it all is. $247 for 90 days. You guys have access to it. If you have any questions, text us. The number is 1-888-621-2127. Again, it's 1-888-621-2127, 1-888-621-2127. Phone number's down there at the bottom of your screen. You have any questions at all, you're having a hard time signing up, text that number, and we'll help you guys in any way that we can. We're fully transparent. We are an open book. Anything you want to know, text that number. Very simple. Okay? All right. All right, folks. Yes, today I told Mari was HHD and could she give me the info, quick and short info? I just took it. Yeah, way to go, Gail. Great job. Trey goes, I bought and sold my first stocks in 2020. See, you don't need all this experience. We have a lot of members that just started, within the last few years. Many people on this live stream probably just got involved in the stock market because of COVID. We've been around much longer than that. True Trading Group went live to the public in 2017. So we're not just some fly-by-night, company that just came by. We have 10,000 members in 115 different countries, a 30-person staff, partnerships with the NASDAQ, partnerships with Unusual Whales, Benzinga, right? All this stuff is something that is what you guys are going to have access to when you guys become members. You can do so for 90 days, $247. They're the best damn $247 you guys have ever spent. It's $247 to potentially set you guys up with a platform that can help you guys reach your goals that you never thought were possible, or can speed up you reaching your goals. It would have took you 3 years. It ends up taking you 6 months, something like that. You're talking about $247 to maybe potentially help you retire 2 years ahead of schedule from what you thought. So that's really what we're talking about. You're talking about $247 that could potentially pay off exponentially. 90 days, try it out. See what everybody else on this YouTube channel and that's part of the group already knows. Okay? All right. So somebody was asking me before, what do I think about continuation on NVIDIA? I mean, honestly, it's hard to look at today's price action and not think you're going to get follow through. Today is such a clean breakout, but I feel like these stocks are getting are extended a bit. I feel like we break out this high, but I don't know how much further we go. Maybe we can get to like the 160s or so, and then maybe pull back into the 140s and 150s. I don't necessarily think you're going to see NVIDIA push to like 175. I do think there's some more upside here, Josh, but I just don't think there's that much. I could see maybe the 160s, and then maybe the stock cools off a little bit. You guys this has been a huge move from April. July is seasonally a very strong month for the market. If you look back over the last 10, 15 years, you know what, Josh, and I agree with that. There you go, brother. Josh said, Mari said 140, 157 and 160. So there you go. So Josh asked our AI. Our AI told Josh 157 to 160. Those could be some areas to take profits off the table on the NVIDIA trade that Josh is long. Congratulations, man. That's a beautiful trade. Okay. So there you go. All right. It takes me back to, what I was saying before about, July being a seasonally strong July. Josh, my pleasure. July being a seasonally strong month. If you look back over the last 10, 15 years, in the last 10 years, you might have only had one red month of July. July is usually a very strong month for the market. And I'll tell you what I think will dictate whether or not July is going to be a strong month again. There's two things we need to look out for going into the month of July. One of them is the July 9th deadline. Okay, the July 9th deadline. Do you teach option selling for premium at TeachD? DeWall? Yes, we do. Okay, we do have a couple of moderators that do sell options for premium. They call it sell options to generate income. They will usually, sell calls or sell puts, whether they're cash secured puts or if they're covered calls. There's moderators here that do spreads and butterflies and condors and some more advanced option strategies. We also have some courses on advanced option strategies. And of course, our AI is very well trained and well versed in advanced option strategies. So if that's what you're looking for, DeWall, we absolutely have that for you. We have moderators that trade that way. We have members that trade that way. And our AI is trained for that as well. So if you're interested, again, ttgoffer.com. Again, that is ttgoffer.com. You guys get everything on that page for $247 for 90 days. Any questions, text us 1-888-621-2127. Phone number's right down there at the bottom of your screen. So what you need to pay attention to for the month of July. In order for July to be a green month, we need two things to happen. You need for the tariffs not to come back after the July 9th deadline. The July 9th deadline is quickly approaching. And supposedly, if we don't have the trade deals by July 9th, those tariffs come back. What I think you probably will see happen, considering now that the markets are back at all-time highs, I'm going to assume that if there's not trade deals finalized by July 9th, that there's probably going to be an extension of that deadline. That's what I think. If there's an extension of the deadline and it is because, negotiations are going well, or And, we're going to give some more time to finalize these deals. These are complex negotiations and it takes more time and it gets pushed out another 60 days. The markets could move higher. If you actually do get trade deals by July 9th, the markets move higher. But here's the other piece of the pie, or the puzzle rather, that we need to pay attention to for the month of July in order for July to be another green month. It's the June CPI number. If you listened at all to Jerome Powell at the Fed meeting the other week, he was very adamant in saying that the Fed expects to see inflation from the tariffs throughout the summer. Now, I was not happy when he said that, because I felt that listen, first of all, you've had 3 really good inflation reports in a row. And the May CPI number is when a lot of analysts said we'll start to see the tariff inflation in the May number. Well, the May CPI number came and it was under expectations, and you did not see any real increase in inflation from tariffs. And I said, okay, well, it's 1 month. Maybe they're 1 month off. If the Fed maybe sees 1 more month of good inflation data, maybe that gives them the green light to say, okay, no, we're not going to see the inflation and we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut. So I was hoping to hear from Jerome Powell that he was very pleased with the May number and that, if we get another number like that, the coast is clear. We didn't hear that from him. He said basically throughout the summer, which means June, July, August, and that takes you to September's rate cut, September's Fed meeting to give you the first rate cut. There is no Fed meeting in August, so you're not going to get a rate cut in August. There's a meeting in July, there's a meeting in September. I was hopeful, okay? I was hopeful that if we got a good CPI number for June, we would get a cut in July. It's not what Jerome Powell insinuated. And here's the reasoning behind it. The reason why they're not cutting rates yet is because they're waiting to see if the inflation shows up, and it essentially is going to come down to when the new batch of inventory rolls in. Before the tariffs went on, a lot of businesses went through, and individuals and businesses went through, and businesses pulled forward a lot of excess inventory to try to buy as much product as they could before any increase in price happened from the tariffs. So you have all of this inventory that people pulled forward, probably by a couple of months, that is sitting at a pre-tariff price point for them. Once that inventory is then used and depleted and sold, the next order would be at the higher price. That is what Jerome Powell and the Fed are waiting for. Right? That's what they're waiting for. So I get it. It makes sense. That inventory has to get turned over before we can really see it. But, I feel like analysts said we'd see it in May. We didn't. Now they're saying we'll see it in June. If you get a lighter than expected CPI number for the June report, I feel like inflation is not going to be there. The Fed can cut 25 basis points at the July meeting, 25 basis points at the September meeting, and 25 basis points at the December meeting, and get 3 rate cuts in before the end of the year. That's what I hope that we're going to get. So those are the 2 things I think that we're going to need in order for the markets to move higher again in July. Okay, July is a very seasonally strong month. I think only one July out of the last 10 years was red. Don't quote me on that. I think it's something right around there. It might be 9 or 11 or 12, whatever it is. It's the strongest month of the whole year is usually July historically. So if we do not get the tariffs coming back on, that's a big one. You need the tariffs to not come back on after the July 9th deadline. And if the June inflation number is under expectations, if those 2 things happen, then you're going to see all-time highs in the month of July. Okay? You'll see all-time highs in the month of July. I know that's crazy, or it might sound crazy to some people, and I'll give you kind of my take here, longer term macro. And again, just a quick reminder, all of our members at 5 p.m., we are going to open up the main chat room. There's going to be a free workshop for all of our members on how to use the TTG AI Pro so you guys can familiarize yourself with it prior to the AI bootcamp that's happening in July. Okay, so that's going to be, again, 5 p.m. I'll be done in the next 10 minutes. 5 p.m., you guys can go on in there and have some fun with that and learn about how to use the AI. Okay, so that'll be inside main chat at 5 p.m. All right. So bigger picture macro view, the way I look at things now is, yes, the markets are expensive. We're in the 97th percentile as far as PE ratio and valuations are concerned, forward and trailing PEs. We're expensive. GDP is slowing, not accelerating for the time being. So for the markets to make a new all-time high with a slowing GDP, considering valuations are as high as they are, I think that's challenging. I think we'll make the all-time high. I just don't know how much further we'll push through it. You might print it by a couple of bucks, then pull back and consolidate and bounce around for a little while. But I think that we have to get past the tariffs and trade deals. We need the Fed to start cutting rates this year. And then you need the conversation to shift away from tariffs and deficit. And the conversation needs to shift towards deregulation and tax cuts. And if the conversation shifts to deregulation and tax cuts, the Fed cuts rates, tariffs uncertainty is behind us. If that's the backdrop going into the second half of this year or the fourth quarter of this year, if that's the backdrop, that's a backdrop I want to be long going into 2026, because then GDP can reaccelerate going into the end of the year. And then you can have a situation where earnings expectations for 26 increase. And that's when you can get the SPY or the S&P 500 makes a new all-time high convincingly and actually continues to move to the upside as the PE ratio comes down, as earnings expectations accelerate, earnings growth accelerates going into 2026. But I think you need those things to happen. Okay, I think you need those things to happen. And I will update all of our members as this unfolds and as I get all the data. And if if I change my mind, because if those things don't happen, I think you have a chance of seeing a significant slowdown going into the end of the year. And you might even see the markets pull back in the end of the year. If what I just said to you does not happen, if I don't get those catalysts, then I think the markets are probably too expensive. If that stuff does not happen, and I think you'll see profit taking going into the end of the year, lock in those gains. And then I think that could be, we'll play it that way, when the time comes, but we'll deal with that when the time comes. For now, I think all-time highs are on deck. It is the only resistance level that we have. There is no resistance on the SPY or the S&P other than your all-time high. And that resistance level, it's a little wide. It's about $3 wide on the SPY. It starts at 610, takes you to 613, and then that's your all-time high. So I think we're going to bump our head right up against that and maybe consolidate underneath it for a little while, and then maybe pop above it as you get into the month of July. Okay. So again, guys, those of you that are not members, go to ttgoffer.com. Everything on that page, it's included for $247 for just 90. It's included for 90 days for just $247. Best damn $247 you guys will have ever spent. ttgoffer.com. Any questions? Text us 1-888-621-2127. Phone number is right down there at the bottom of your screen. Again, there is no automatic renewal. There is no automatic upgrade to an annual membership. You're going to have to do that yourself if you decide you want to stay with us for the full year, which I'm confident you're going to. We have a retention rate amongst members of 75%. 75% of our members renew their membership or they upgrade to become a lifetime member of the platform. That's why I'm confident once you get a taste of the TTG platform, you use our AI, use the system and the platform, you familiarize yourself with the mods and members, start making some money with us. I'm confident you guys are going to want to stay as well. All right, ttgoffer.com. Text us with questions. I'll see you guys all later. Members, you guys can all get ready to head on into the main chat room. Again, there's going to be a free workshop on TTG AI Pro. You're all invited to see the capabilities, learn how to use it so you can familiarize yourself with it prior to the boot camp that we're having in July. All right, so head on over to main chat and have a wonderful rest of your night. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Take care, folks.